Well, Sean, one of the things Keller Williams is really, we're down on in a big way is this idea that success leaves clues, so does failure, right? And when you look at people who've been successful in the business, they're usually following a model. So when we talk about modeling or following somebody's model, what does that mean to you?
It's interesting to me. It's like what you said, success leaves clues. And we really focus in on models of success that work for any real estate agent that will do the work. And so we start typically with an economic model, right? Why we got into the business. So we like to, and I'll sort of take you through the progression, but one of the things we look at is that economic model where we really go through and determine if you want to make $1 million, this is what you have to do. And we break that down to the daily. So now we know what we need to do on a day-to-day basis in order to hit the numbers. And that's where you sort of get the notion or the idea that the path is in the math.
Right.
Once you know the numbers that you have to hit, then you're going to achieve your goal 12 months out or however long your goal is. And so it's important in terms of concept of modeling, it's important to have a model to put your behaviors to, a model to put your disciplines to. So that's really why we're so focused on it.
Well, and the thing about models, right, is they're proven. And what I know is that as an industry, we're made up of creatives,
Yeah.
right? We're a group of creative people, and we like to be creative. And the challenge with modeling is putting your creativity first until you master the model that somebody else has already proven. And only after you've mastered that model do you get to add your creativity on top of it. And unfortunately, I see a lot of people flip that and they build their business based on creativity, and then they try and slap a model on top of it, and they wonder why it's wonky and why it's not really working.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a great thing. This is one of the things I think the value that you bring is 25 plus years of experience of doing the thing, right? And establishing a model, a baseline upon which to build. And it's the most important, like the just thing you talked about. The model this way as a pyramid works great. A model this way where it's creativity and you're balancing everything on creativity, definitely not.
Yeah.
You're not going to last over time.
Well, one of the things I'm really excited about, you see it here, right? Millionaire real estate agent playbook, right? We're interviewing top agents who are succeeding at a massive level in this market, right? Closing 3, 4, 500,000 units, right? And what are the models that they're doing? And each one of them is actually put into basically a one-page play, right? If you run this play, these will be the results that you get. And it's pretty fun because we've had agents who joined us, brand new agents who've been experienced, been in the business, who may be struggling because of the shift in the market, who've been implementing the models and having massive success.
Yeah, 100%. And it all comes down to a couple of different things, right? Number one is run the play. Understand the play first and foremost and how it fits with you and does it adapt to your styles, your strengths, your skill sets. We brought a young man in, Will, who for about the first 3 years in the business, first 2 years in the business was making telephone calls, decided he didn't want to do that. He was 19 years old at the time. Starts doing what we call a golden letter. And now he's over $1 million a year in GCI. He only takes calls. He doesn't make calls. And as a young man to figure that out at 21, super exciting, right? And so that golden letter is a brilliant strategy where he took a model, implemented it to his situation, and has run with it very successfully. And so, yeah, and we put that playbook, that's in the playbook as well. And so we find agents that are doing models very efficiently, very effectively, and then we have them just lay it out, teach it.
Yeah. Well, and it brings me back to the base model that we use for all of this. And we call it going from E to P, from entrepreneurial to purposeful. Now, when we're entrepreneurial, right, we're living in our natural state, right? We bring our energy, our enthusiasm, our excitement, and we show up, we go, ta-da, I'm here, I'm ready to roll, right? And by the way, for each and every one of us, that will get us so far. And for each and every one, it'll be a different level. The question is then how do you get beyond that? And we call that going to purposeful. And really, it's a 5-step process. Number one is focus. What is it you want? And when we talk about focus, it's like a camera, right? When you focus the camera on the subject, what are you doing to that subject? You're bringing absolute clarity to it. Right. So you've got to get absolute clarity about what it is you want. Then the second step is options, which would presuppose that you agree with the concept that people have lived before you. that whatever it is you want to accomplish, somebody's probably already done it.
Yeah.
And by the way, we have books of people who've done it, right? We write the books on real estate, quite frankly. And so when you look out there, is there only one way to be successful? And the answer, of course, is no, right? There's multiple ways. But the question is which of those options is the best one for you? Because once you get clarity around that, then that becomes the model. Now, when you take somebody's model, it's going to be incumbent upon you to actually implement every one of the systems that is involved in executing that model. And then I would tell you, I think the fifth and most important part, and that's what I love about our culture, is accountability. Who's going to hold you accountable to implement the system so you pull off the model and then ultimately achieve your focus?
And the reason that's so important, I want to just add on that, is because I just had a conversation last week with one of our agents who started implementing a model, and two things happened. Number one, her business slowed down. And that wasn't what she was expecting. She was thinking, well, as I'm going to implement this model, my business is going to take off. Well, sometimes you have to slow down in order to go far. And so she's in the throes of slowing down. She's like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this model. Maybe I shouldn't. Let's go through and let's talk about why you're going slow right now, because you're having to learn something new. That's the second thing, is that being accountable and having someone to coach you through the process. What happens is, as you go from E to P, you're breaking through terror barriers, what I call terror barriers. You're breaking through fear factors. These are levels where your capabilities hit this level, which is very comfortable. When you start to break through to that, you're in the uncomfortable zone. You've broken through a terror barrier and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if it's going to work. I don't have as much confidence as I used to have when I was doing the thing that I do so naturally. And it's great to have someone who holds you accountable and says, this is the way, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to make it through. We're going to keep doing this. And so that's part of that whole strategy when you're moving from E to P. It's such a powerful, powerful concept.